cans of worms in recent history.
Hey, Mr. Fast Answers, I've got a question for you.
Shoot it at me, ignoramus boy.
Why is it that we should be afraid to open a can of worms?
A can of worms is kind of like a Pandora's box, only not so dangerous. When you open one, the worms crawl out, squirmy and twisted, like they're tourists in Paris. Each worm with its own agenda, its private hungers, its individual path. Pretty soon they're spread out everywhere, checking out the scenery, and you'll never get them back into the can.
Kind of like me asking my wife about her sex life before we got married.
Your wife, yes. Her premarital sex life was definitely squirmy, twisted, and all over the place. A can of worms if I ever saw one. Cans of worms are everywhere. Take E equals mc squared, for example. We opened that can of worms and we got atomic energy, along with the weapon that ended World War II. But we also got unforeseen consequences. A huge nuclear waste disposal problem. Rogue states like Korea becoming nuclear powers. Paranoid overreactions to bad intelligence, like the U.S. invasion of Iraq.
I think that you just opened a can of worms.
No, I didn't open that can. Those worms have been out and crawling around. It's kind of like Darwin's theory of evolution. Social conservatives have been chasing around the ideas that evolution has spawned for 100 years now, trying to put them back into the can.
So you think that this is a political thing? Liberals keep opening cans of worms, and conservatives try to put the worms back into the cans. Kind of like what is going on with this global warming debate.
No, not at all. Cans of worms are bigger than conservative and liberal political agendas. Take nuclear energy, for example. It's liberals who keep trying to put that worm back into the can.
Or genetic engineering. That's another example.
On the nose, ignoramus boy. Genetic engineering is a can of worms raised to the power of a can of worms.
Do you think it might even be a Pandora's box?
That's the problem with a can of worms. You never know before you open it whether it is a can of worms or a Pandora's box. Genetic engineering might become a great blessing, or maybe we'll grow dogs' heads, start screeching like camels, grow horns and tails, and get weird growths on our skulls. With something like genetic engineering, you just never know.